Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So we're back talking about Battlefleet Gothic 2 Armada. I know I've been basically shoving this game in your face over the past couple of days. It's only down to the fact that the beta testing is only lasting to the 5th to the 12th of December, so I'm trying to fit as much in as possible until they take it away and then I go cold turkey in a corner. Now the subject of today's Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 video is the Space Marine fleets, because these guys suck the Emperor's hairy golden balls. They are just the worst. You would have think that the defenders of humanity would be kind of good in some kind of sense, but no, they are just terrible. Now, before everyone starts losing their mind and saying, well, you're playing them wrong, Valrak, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, I've tried every option. I really have. I've even got streams up on my YouTube channel. If you scroll down, look at for the live stream playlist. You know, we spent like a day trying to make the perfect Space Marine fleet, and it just wasn't happening. They're just so weak in every single area. They're weak at high range when it comes to void battles, which, to be fair, I don't think Space Marines should be very good when it comes to shooting. Their tactics should lie in boarding, getting into your enemy ships and causing damage that way. But the main problem is, because their ships are so weak, by the time you reach your enemy fleet, you have no ships left to send boarding parties onto, because the ships just break apart. You got stuff like Tau, Dark Eldar, who can do these hit and run tactics. Even Tyranids and Orcs are better than Space Marines if you finally get to them, because the Tyranids just smash into you, they swarm you and stuff like that. Orcs can really take a beating. You know, you can do a lot of like big red button smashing, driving into the Space Marines and just knock them out. And the Space Marines are just like, the guys just like, oh well, I guess we're just not good at anything then in this game. Now, there's something that I actually did just to find out what was different with Space Marines in Battlefleet Gothic 1 and Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2. And I went and checked the stats, and there is no stat changes. They basically just copied over the stats and the ships from number 1 straight to number 2. The only thing that they have changed is they've given us more options for more chapters. So, you know, the last one, I think you only had Blood Angels, Imperial Fist, Ultramarines, Dark Angels. Now you've got all the 9 First Founding Loyalist chapters in the game. Now, there's one thing which I know they've changed, but this applies to every fleet, not just a Space Marine fleet, is that you're limited on what kind of actions you can take when it comes to boarding torpedoes or torpedoes. Now, one of the main advantages for Space Marines in Battlefleet Gothic Armada 1 is that you can really kite your enemy with the boarding torpedo tactic. What I tended to do is put my boarding torpedoes on auto cycle. That is another thing they've took out the game, and just basically fly my guys around the map, constantly shooting boarding torpedoes off, you know, selecting the engines, selecting the generators, making sure, you know, all the big stuff of the fleet got taken down before I actually then went in and engaged them toe to toe. That is not the option now, because you only have 3 shots when it comes to torpedoes, and you only have 3 shots when it comes to boarding torpedoes as well. So the tactic of kiting has basically been thrown out the window. So now what I have to do to try and get the damage on the generators, the engines, the weapons, all that kind of stuff, is I actually have to go toe to toe with these enemy fleets. I have to get next to them. I have to send my boarding parties onto these ships. But that goes back to the problem we were speaking about before, is that by the time my ships are in that position, I don't have a fleet left. I've suffered heavy damage because getting to that position, the enemies basically just opened up on me. I've lost my shields, I've lost hull damage, all that kind of stuff. I'm in a position where I can only launch maybe 1 or 2 boarding actions before that ship is destroyed. Now, there is a new mechanic when it comes to Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2, and this is where boarding comes into it, is that you basically destroy the crew on the ship, and the ship then is left to be a drifting hulk. But one of the disadvantages about this, and this really hurts me as a Space Marine player, is that the enemy player can scuttle that ship. He can blow that ship up. So what I've done and what I've encountered in the past is that if I have a small ship and someone's boarded it and they've taken it out, I basically scuttle the ship, and the damage from scuttling your ship onto the ship that has just boarded you is catastrophic. You can more or less wipe out that ship if you get a really good scuttle explosion going off. So I think the developers really need to look at that ability again and really tone down the damage when it comes to scuttling ships, especially so for fleets like mine, which are supposed to be boarding those ships, because by the time I've boarded it, he basically presses scuttle and the ship that has just boarded it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm like, okay, I can't range these guys. If I attempt to and I'm successful at boarding these ships, they then scuttle the ship and I take more damage than I would in like a range engagement. I'm completely lost on how to play Space Marines and what to do with them with these new mechanics in Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2. So the main question is, how would we improve this? How would we make the Space Marine fleet a decent fleet? Because like I said, at the moment, it is probably the worst fleet in the game. Well, I do have a couple ideas. I'm sure you have a couple ideas. I'm sure people will hate my ideas. Some people will love my ideas. Leave all the comments in this in the comment section below, and we'll have a nice little discussion about that. Well, the first big idea is ship costs. I think they should really lower the ship cost in Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 for the Space Marines. I think they're very, very overpriced with some of the ships that you can get from the Imperium, which do a much far better job at lower point costs. The battle barge for the Space Marines is so overcosted that I have to take a loan out every time I play that bloody thing because it's just so expensive. So that is probably one of the big things I would want done first, is lower the point cost for the big battle barge. Increase the toughness of the ships. Make these guys more harder to kill. These are Space Marines. These are the peak evolution of humanity. Well, you technically can argue they're really not humans, but that's another subject for another day. But these are like humanity on steroids. But their ships are basically not that. They don't reflect that at all. So I think there's a much needed change when it comes to their ship balance. Give them more better shields, give them tougher, more hull points and stuff like that. So when we come to do these boarding actions, we can actually last a little bit longer than more or less disappearing in 30 seconds because we just get out-dackered by every bloody fleet in the game. And boarding torpedoes. Boarding torpedoes should be unlimited for Space Marines. I know that's going to kick a few people in the crotch, but I personally think that boarding torpedoes should be unlimited for the Space Marine faction. So we could go back to that old goal of kiting the enemy, because that is where our strongest attack lies, in kiting, using these boarding torpedoes, getting onto the enemy's ship, exploding the engines, generators and stuff like that, then going in and moving in for the kill. I will argue to I'm blue in the face that I don't think Space Marines should be a ranged faction. They should be a close combat, get up on the ship, board it and destroy it from within faction. That is how Space Marines should be played. I know there's a lot of arguments saying, well, Space Marines are really, really weak when it comes to range combat and stuff like that, and I can't agree with that, because I think if you want to play that ranged type of combat, you should be playing the Imperial Navy. That is where their firepower and their advantage lies when it comes to range combat. And with the scuttle mechanic as well, they really need to revisit how that works, because at the moment it does far too much damage. Maybe they can do something where, as you know, if you're playing like one of these boarding S fleets, Space Marine Tyranid, something like that, when you go on and you empty that ship of crew, maybe there is a cooldown, like you can only scuttle after 15 seconds, so it gives time for the ships to actually get out of that range. Because at the moment, like I said before, you board it and the guy goes, okay, scuttle, and your ship just takes a massive amount of damage. I'm like, why do I even bother boarding these guys when I'm just taking so much bloody damage? Alright chaps, that is me done for another video. I hope you've enjoyed it. All in all, I'm absolutely loving Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2. The bit of the campaign, we got to play the prologue with the phalanx. Oh, I'm still touching myself over it. The multiplayer is really, really fun. There's some improvements to be made, but that's not really for this video. I'll do that probably on release and stuff like that. But all in all, I'm really, really enjoying the game. I cannot wait to get my hands on the full version, jump in, purge, and play it. Hopefully the developers will see this, or you know, the feedback will get back to him about how broken and crap the Space Marine fleets are, so we can actually get some improvements for our forces. Before you go, please visit the link in the description of this video. There's a forum post by my friend Proteus. He goes into a lot of details on how to improve the Space Marines, goes over some of the disadvantages and stuff like that. If you can go over there, add your feedback to that post, that would be greatly appreciated as well. For me, thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you've got any feedback at all about my feedback, or you want to add to that, then please post it below in the comment section here, and we can have a nice little friendly discussion about that as well. Thank you for watching once again. I'll see you all very, very soon, and have a great day. See you now, and bye-bye.